Samudyama Prapana Bhaktar Vido Samahitaha Aho Pranamaya Krita Samudyama Prapana Bhaktarta Vido Samahitaha Kapala Istvat Anugrahom Marair Alabda Purvo Pasadher Musriptaha Aho Pranamai Krishna Samudyama Prapana Bhaktarta Vido Samahitaha Lokapala Istvat Nugrahom Marair Alabda Purvor Pasade Surir Pita Valervacha Aho Pranamaya Samudyama Prabhana Bhaktarata Vido Samahitaha Palaistvat Anugrahom Marair Alabda Purvo Pasade Surir Pita. Thank you very much. Great. Shri Bali Uvacha. Bali Maharaj said, Aho, alas, Pranamaya, to offer my respectful obeisances. Kritaha, I did. Samudyamaha, only an endeavor. Prapana Bhakta Arta Vidau, in the regulative principles observed by pure devotees. Samahitaha is capable, yat, that. Lokapalahai, by the leaders of various planets. Tvat anugraha, your causeless mercy. Amarahai, by the demigods. Alabda Purbaha, not achieved previously. Apasade, unto a fallen person like me. Asure, belonging to the Asura community. Arpitaha, endowed. Translation. Bali Maharaj said, what a wonderful effect there is in even attempting to offer respectful obeisances to you. I merely endeavored to offer you obeisances, but nonetheless the attempt was a successful. Pure devotees, the causeless mercy you have shown me, a fallen demon, was never achieved even by the demigods or the leaders of the various planets. And purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. When appeared for Bali Maharaj, Bali Maharaj immediately wanted to offer him respectful, but he was unable to do so because of the presence of Shukracharya and other demoniac associates. The Lord is so merciful. However, it's a native term. How? Although Bali Maharaj did not actually offer obeisances, but only endeavored to do so within his mind. The Supreme Personality of Godhead blessed him with more mercy than even the demigods could ever expect. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 2:40, Swalpamapyasya dharmasya treyato mahato bhayat. Even a little advancement on this path can Protect one from the most dangerous type of. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Bhavagrahi Janardana because he takes only the essence of a devotee's attitude. If a devotee sincerely surrenders the Lord as the supersoul in everyone's heart, immediately understands this. Thus, even though externally a devotee may not render full service. Did you get that? Service, gassing up, all right? Okay. If he, some of you don't drive, so you don't know. Thus, even though externally a devotee may not render full service, he is internally sincere and serious. The Lord welcomes his service nonetheless. Thus, the Lord is known as Bhavagrahi Janardana because he takes the essence of one's devotional mentality. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Very bland tea, by the way. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Smastai Padare Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tanamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pujarini Nirvishesha Shingavadi Paschachati Shatarini. The pastime of Bali, Vamana, Shukracharya, that triangle is coming to an end. And it's being left at a good note, meaning that the proper attitude or frame of mind is established. We are especially impressed by Bali Maharaj. Why? How so? Because even though he was of the demon clan, he demonstrated all kinds of devotional qualities. We do have some examples of demons who actually were better at showing devotion than even some devotees. Like, for instance, in the case of Vritrasura, he had a battle with Indra, right? And Indra showed more qualities of being self-centered than the opposite. Hiranyakashipu also similarly showed all kinds of beautiful sentiments when his brother passed away, and he was trying to console all of his family members, say, be calm, everything's okay. And then he became very philosophical and explained everything philosophical in the way that a very advanced Brahmin or Pandit would speak. It's quite amazing, He spoke very philosophically. One thing that sticks out in my mind in his dialogue to his family members is, listen, we all come together, like weeds in the ocean, seaweeds. And then at some certain time, the currents will separate us. And because the ocean is vast, we may never meet again. The Bhagavatam also gives an example that sometimes people meet, they do business trips. Did anybody meet Anandi the other day, last week? She came from Saskatoon. She was here on a business trip at Toronto. And so she came, she probably met people in the hotel where and then spend some time there, maybe at the conference or just in the lounge. And then everyone disperses and they never meet again. So Hiranyakashipu was trying to console his members and say, it's okay. A lot of people are quite stuck on this whole phenomena of soulmates. You've heard about that concept, right? And one of our devotees in Calgary, his name's Hari Mohan, he wrote a whole book about it. It starts off in an airport, and it was this African American or Canadian. He's kind of walking by, and then there's a Western lady sitting in the chair, and their eyes met. He was just walking through, ding, and what was that all about? They believe, I know this person. Each was having a mutual experience. I know this person. I know this person from a previous life. So the way that he's written the book, it's such a good piece of literature. I can't, karmic something, I can't remember. But it just rolls out in such an interesting way, right to the very end, so he's quite genius-like. And the last time I talked to him, he's very sober, he never doesn't get overly excited, like bubbly, like some of you are. But I say that in a good way. He said, Maharaj, I'm going to make a movie out of it. Okay, great, fantastic. So if you can make a movie as good as the book writes or reads out to us, all the power to you. So what is Bali Maharaj's mentality? It is, for the things that I've done, I deserve worse. Really, I should have. I should have, I deserve to go to hell. And there was one comedian, Red Skelton, he was famous in the 60s. He once said, it's hard to tell someone to go to hell when they're already there. Okay, so hell, what's hell? People have different concepts about it. Can I tell you some funnies? Once in a while I see cartoons. I have a good friend from Windsor. He's a retired school teacher. He sends me these funnies. So here's one. Okay, hell, of course, is usually portrayed as a place of where it's hot. So there's all these people in hell. They're in a queue to go for the coffee, right? The coffee dispenser. And in the meantime, there's all these sort of devils up there with their pitchforks, and they're on guard, right, to keep everyone in hell who deserves to be there. So one guy is getting his coffee in the cup, and then he takes a sip and he turns around to the next guy. They've got everything covered here, and even the coffee's cold. And then there's another funny about hell. So one guy, he's got this box of pizza in it. There's a pizza in this, okay? And he's standing up at a higher level, and everyone else is looking down like this, and said, whoever ordered this, it's going right back where it came from. So in other words, even in hell, you can't get your pizza. So people, really, hell is a sort of a deprivation, a separation from the Supreme Lord. And that's a good definition also of Maya. Maya means that which is not. Meaning, what is hell really? It's a place where there's real happiness. Maybe little spurts here and there, but it's nothing to write home about. It's nothing to write to mama about, right? So that's the idea. And but really, hell is the place. Some of the lower planets are places where there's lack of service, and service means everything for the devotee. It's ecstasy. Service is ecstasy, especially devotional service. You might want to write that down. Devotional service is ecstasy. Devotional service is heaven, or at least Vaikuntha, a place of where there's full freedom and there's joy. Bali Maharaj is saying that, for all I've done, I deserve worse. So Prabhupada does give an example. Let's say, how many people have worked in the kitchen here? Offered some services, Okay, almost everyone has done. Yes? It's unanimous? I hope so. Otherwise. All right. So when you're in the kitchen, have you ever nicked yourself a little bit? Is that possible? You get kind of, especially the bangan. It's very slippery, it's just kind of rubbery, and and it might slip and got a little cut. Okay. Oh, then you have to go to the sink. You have to pour cold water, and hopefully it'll just stop bleeding. Has anybody ever had that experience before? I had that experience before. I was working in the kitchen at 187 Gerard Street with B.B. Govindaswamy. He was quite a good cook, right? And I was cutting vegetables for him because I was the brahmachari. He was the Brahmin. I was just Bhakta Jojo, bozo. And I accidentally cut my finger, and it was quite deep, actually. You could sort of like a cat, like pull it out like this, so he noted this as, go and wash it. So I went down to the basement, and we had like a big sort of workers, like a big sink, and almost like a laundry kind of sink, right? So I poured the water on the cold water, and then I looked at it like a cat, and at that point I fainted, and I hit the concrete floor, and then my teeth got busted, and then Praharna, she came down. She just happened to come down, I guess and I was having convulsions, and then Praharna said, "Oh, she was freaking out like anything like that. She didn't work at the hospital yet at that time. So, anyways, I was taken to, to get something done with my teeth, um, and devotees were joking with me that, oh, buck teeth marg. The buck teeth marg. And it was, the bill was $500. Today it would be 5,000 probably, for getting these two teeth in the front, like caps put on, right? So the devotees had come back from India, and our treasury was dry, and the temple president was a little resentful, that we had to spend $500 on my teeth so that I could look like a decent person, So, anyways, that's a little story, and I had to think, well, for all I've done, all the sins I have committed, I deserve much worse. In fact, a devotee thinks a knife, for all I've done, my head should be cut off. Has anybody ever thought like that? It's a little drastic, isn't it? Yeah. So everything gets minimalized, when you become a devotee. Putana, she did wrong. She did wrong. Her intentions were no good. And that was to take a little baby and give him poison and kill him. Do you remember the story of King Chitraketu? He and his wife, the senior one, who got the blessing of having the kir from a sadhu, they finally had a child after trying so long, so hard to have children. And so finally they got a child because a sadhu had come to their home and had given a blessing. So now the child was born, and his name was Harsha Shoka. Harsha Shoka means this person will be harsh and will also give joy. In other words, will be the cause of joy and also the cause of great pain. So what happened is that the co-wives, and he had many wives to try to ensure that he could have a child. I think he was the problem, maybe not the ladies. But so they conspired to eliminate the child because they were just jealous. Jealousy is a real component in life that can destroy you. In fact, jealousy or envy is supposed to be the seed of all other sinful seeds. That's what gets us going, We're jealous of God. We're the little fish that wants to be the big fish. And why do we want to be the big fish? Because he has full freedom to go this way, go that way, go up, go down. And the little fish is jealous. Says, why can't I be the big fish, right? So the big fish says, are you sure you want to be the big fish? Yes. Okay. Are you absolutely? Yes. Well, I can only make you think that you are the big fish. Really? You can make me do that? And so the little fish is led to believe that he can be the big fish and be in charge, to be God, basically. So what do I have to do? Okay, and the big fish says, well, you just swim up and up and up, and there's something called a wave, and it'll take you to something called a beach. Okay, and then when he rolls onto the beach, then which is dry, and he gets all itchy, and it's, he just can't handle it very well. And then he meets Maya, who's on a beautiful lawn chair, sipping the very best mango lassi, and with sunglasses on, and she's right there to take care superficially of the little fish, right? Okay, so now jealousy is that kind of thing which really does destroy and brings us to a lower level of existence. But going back to the point of our dear Putin, is that the name of the Putin or Putana? Oh, sorry, they're very close. Maybe they're brother and sister. Putana, and she's up to no good. And Krishna looks at her; his eyes is open, and the pundits have different interpretations of what that means when Krishna's looking at her, and when he blinks his eyes, because she was quite hideous, and he knew what she was really all about. She actually appeared in the precincts of Vrindavan, and she looked like the goddess of fortune. In fact, some of the coward men said, "Ooh la la." They didn't say that because it's not a Vedic mantra, but you understand what we're trying to say. But Krishna could see through her. Krishna could see our faults, and he definitely was able to perceive her very expertly. And he felt this lady must go. But I hate to do this, Mataji, but your life will come to an end. But because she approached him in a motherly fashion by offering her breastly milk to the child, he felt that she's coming to me like a mama, a nice mama. And for that, I will award her a moksha, a liberation that's on the same status as Mother Yashoda. Now, you can't think of anybody who would have a better position than Mother Yashoda. Somebody who's got a parental spirit about God. When you see you're in the Yoga Maya influence to the point where you can't see this is God. This is my child. This is my baby, right? And so that's the kind of Maya she was in, a Yoga Maya, which is an okay Maya. There are two types of Maya. You know what they are? Mahamaya and Yoga Maya. Under what fluence are we? Mahamaya. Anybody under the Yoga Maya influence here? Anybody? Okay, because if you are, I'll kiss your feet. Okay, so we may declare something, but it may not be true. Krishna is always has this position. Shishupal was very offensive. He committed many aparadhs, and Krishna was counting. And sometimes we have a tough time counting our beads or counting how many rounds. Does anybody count how many hours of sleep we got? Does anybody ever do that here in the ashram? Yeah, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing. It's okay. You don't have to feel guilty. But Krishna's counting all the aparadhs, and as the numbers were escalating for Shishupal, who in the public was criticizing Krishna and others, saintly people, he said, "Keep going, keep going, keep going," and that at point 100, that meant that's it. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. And then the Lord released his chakra, Sudarshan chakra, which is a little bit on the sharp side, and a little bit fiery, and so on like that. It moves real fast, and just the incredible clean cut, like the kind of cut you'll never get out of cutting bangan. I have never known that the sharpest knife can, it depends, on what kind of bangan you have. Eggplant. Does anybody like eggplant here? Okay. Are there any anti-eggplant lovers? Okay. It depends on how it's cooked, right? Yesterday's wasn't too bad, actually. It was quite nice, right? Yeah. When I first saw eggplant, but my introduction was at 187 Gerrard Street when I was cutting vegetables. Because, we didn't, in the 60s, 70s, 50s, we grew up on peas and carrots and potatoes. We didn't know about these exotic veggies, honestly. We didn't know about all those, ground crops like, and plantain and all we just didn't, they weren't available. They weren't on the market. All these exotic things came much later on. So when someone offered, say, do you like eggplant? I said, no, I'd rather that you keep the egg on the plant. Okay. All right. We all have our preferences. Prabhupada, he didn't like broccoli. Did you know that? He couldn't, broccoli was not part of the Indian diet, A gobi, yes, but not green gobi. Yeah? Right. It was just not part of the Indian cuisine, just like you don't have in India, it's hard to find an avocado. And that's the only reason why I hate India. Because they don't have avocados. Okay, so let's get back to it. Bali Maharaj, he carried such a beautiful sentiment. We were so inspired by him. He had everything, and then he had nothing. But when he had nothing, he had everything. Does that make any sense? You want to write that one down? Okay. He had everything, then he had nothing, which means he had everything. Okay. So, as we discussed the other day, last week, less is more and more is less. That's basically the spirit, the mentality. But Bali Maharaj, as long as you have shelter, as long as you have something to eat, then it's okay. In fact, Karuna Sindhu and I, we were walking yesterday by the Don jail near there, let's say. And it was a very famous prison in the Toronto area. And people who stay in jail, they oftentimes have their setup is pretty good. It's not bad, you know. I went to one it was a little bit east near Peterborough. It was Diwali time, and I was invited to speak with all these prisoners around. One man, he was a Punjabi guy. No offense to Punjabis, I love them, but he was in the prison for killing his wife, chopping her up, putting her in the garbage bag. Another guy was in there, and he murdered two people in the Windsor Hindu temple. So I was in the midst of all these people, but the murderer, the number two, he told me, "Oh, our setup is pretty good. We got our own apartment. If your girlfriend wants to come see you, she could come and spend some time with you." But it's really talking about rehabilitation. I don't think so. Rehabilitation is when you're put into a humble circumstance. If you're in a prison cell and you've got all these amenities, I don't think you'll get cured of your habit. It's not possible. You have to learn a lesson or two, isn't it? Yeah. Instant karma. Instant karma has to happen for some of us, and then it really becomes very clear. Now let's reflect for a minute on how crafty the Lord is. I'm not talking about God who does arts and crafts. I'm talking about God who's, let's say, sneaky, tricky, you know. In fact, Krishna does state in the Gita, of all tricksters, I'm the best. So nobody can out. You remember the story of Balaram? Well, actually, let's Brahma, okay, who was involved with Krishna and Balaram and the coward boys, and Krishna was, you know, I guess Brahma was envious of him, you know. So he tried to out-mystify Krishna. So he says, I'm going to steal these people. I'm going to hijack, you know. Demigods are into hijacking. All the coward boys and the calves, you know, both. Krishna was left seemingly all by himself. And but Krishna outsmarted him. He did a duplicate set of coward boys and calves. And Brahma's totally bewildered. Wait a minute, I got rid of that. How do they get back there? How is that possible? So, you know, putting two and two together, which ends up being four, Brahma decided that, okay, it's Krishna who's doing this, and he's out mystified me, and I think I just have to take a humble position. And Brahma is, by the way, the head of our sampradaya, so we expect some dignity to come out of his character. And here he showed humility. He ate humble pie. And if you ever look it up online, the origin of humble pie, you'll be shocked. Okay, do you want to share it with us, Monil? When you get a chance, maybe before. And we're going to close up soon because we have to leave time for your questions and answers. Yeah, so Bali Maharaj took a humble position. Trinarapi Sanichina, Tororapi Sahishnana, Amanina Manadina, Kirtaniya Sadahari. So the idea is to take a humble position as much as possible. And we'll also see that through this humility, strength comes. You know? People have a very wrong idea about meekness. They think it's a weakness, that meekness is weakness. Right? Do you want to write that down? I thought it was very poetical. People think meekness is weakness, but actually it's not, you know? And in fact, when you're really the boss when you're Das, right? When you take that position of being a servant, you know? And so in an ego-based culture, surely it's like that. We feel that I have to be on top. I have to show arrogance. I have to show conceitedness. And these are 2 out of the 6 particular traits of what we call demons. Chapter 16. You can check it out. It's text number 4 and 5. 4, I believe. Yeah. Yeah. So you can look that up too, you know. In fact, I think we'll wrap it up here. And I think we're just coming to the point. A few things that I'd like to say is that, take a humble position and also enter the point of humility, whereby you feel I've done so many wrong things. For all I've done, I really deserve worse. I really do. So if we keep in that frame of mind, we're going to be okay. We'll be all right. Okay. Good. So now, do we have something up here? Humble pie. Okay.
Humble pie is here.
Oh, it's coming. Okay, humble pie. Okay, here we go. The idiom "eat humble pie" originates from the medieval dish humble pie, a pie made from the edible inner parts of animals, especially deer, which were considered a low-class food, and the similar sounding word humble. What do you think about that, Bruce? Someone says to you, eat humble pie, that means eat low-class food, because that's what you are. All right, now let's go to the Bhagavad Gita for greater enlightenment. Okay, so these are let's say the traits of a demonic person. Pride. Does that make sense, doesn't it?
Yes.
Arrogance. Makes sense? I don't know the real difference. Conceit. It's almost the same thing. I mean, it's 3 times, bam. It's like playing baseball. 3 times you strike out and you're out. Okay, anger. Is that not a demonic quality?
Yes.
Unless, of course, it's used in Krishna service. Nobody here ever gets angry, right? You're all a bunch of angels. I see wings coming from all of you. But no, I don't know anybody who gets angry here. Yeah,
Sometimes.
sometimes. Okay. Yeah, well, you're an actor. That's fine. Okay, harshness. To be harsh with somebody, to be rough on people means to be rough on yourself. And then ignorance means to just be in darkness. You're not enlightened. You're not educated. In other words, basically, you're not educated. Okay, those are some of the qualities. And now, really, we should not amplify these things or exemplify, but rather we should try to stay away from them. For that, you can go to the first 3 verses. Okay? Is that okay? I think it's really good for us to go over first 3 verses. Okay. Wow. Supreme Personality of Godhead said, let's do this. Fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, nonviolence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O Son of God, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. Good stuff, isn't it?
Yes.
Put it on your refrigerator. Okay. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments, Prabhu? Oh, yes, go ahead.
How do we see that all these devotees or pure devotees, they're always very humble and they always see that whatever is happening, as you said, I deserve more, I deserve worse, but then still the Lord is minimizing it or giving it to me in a way that I can take it. But then I myself as a practitioner, I don't see like that. I feel like um, this should not happen to me, or maybe uh, yeah, I cannot see basically the Lord's hand in some activities. So how can we start seeing Krishna's hand in everything that is happening to us, and how can we see that, oh, it's happening for my benefit and it's happening for
Purification.
all, yeah, purification is
Mhm, mhm.
how can we see that while we are actually getting purified.
Well, I will say this. The more mature you become in Krishna consciousness, the more you're able to see the hand of God. You know, like every day there's little miracles that are happening to each and every one of us. It's a fact. And you'll see sometimes there's things that are coming at you that you feel, oh, this is a correction for me, you know, or or if something is considered truly a blessing, you say, this is coming from God. I didn't earn this. So I hope we're answering your question, but you have to start reading things properly. That's all. Don't read between the lines. Read what's actually there, what's going on in your life. And what is going on in your life is that constantly tests are coming our way, and nobody likes tests or exams, but they're just there for you to sharpen your intelligence and to start to see the hand of God, you know, maybe two hands of God, maybe even the flute in between the two hands. So that's the idea. You have to start reading it like that. We have to sort of get away from just mechanical bhakti. We have to get away from the tendency to just follow rules and regulations, and taking things just literally. Instead of literally, take it heartily. Do you like that one too? Heartily as opposed to just literally, you know. So I put it into practice, and sometimes if we don't see that Krishna's mercy has come upon me, that's why in your association, someone will tell you, boy, did you ever get Krishna's mercy? Okay. When sometimes devotees got chastised by Prabhupada personally, said, wow, I really got the nectar from Prabhupada today. I really got the sauce. That's what we say.
He
Really.
also does that.
He does that
Yeah, yeah.
to remind you, you mean?
No, when he gets chastised by you.
Oh, I see.
Today I
Yeah.
received some mercy.
Well, I have to pick on him because, that's my role. And also because he's in a position of service here where, there's heavy demands on him. And that's why, and Krishna's perhaps testing him more than anybody else. So is that mercy or what? Yeah. What's mercy? Good. See, with a smile. That's the way to do it. Service with a smile. I'm looking around at my radars out there. How many people are serving with a smile? Okay, go ahead.
So Maharaj, as we were talking about anger, but my nature is like I get angry on very small things, but it also dissolves very quickly, and I don't tend to show it. But like, is it really possible to control our anger, like not to be angry?
Well, anger is sometimes pent up inside, and if you can reserve it for playing the mridanga, that's great. Okay, and that's what you do, isn't it? Isn't he great with the mridanga?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So, let's, anger does build up. It's okay, but you don't let anger take the next step, which is to be violent, or let's say to express it in the words, to vocalize it, to put verbal diarrhea out there, you know. So therefore, you're learning to cut it at some point, which is an exercise of austerity, right? One of the qualities further up is austerity, right? Yeah, so that's a good thing. It's okay to be a little bit aroused. Like, I'll give you an example. Prabhupada was very upset with Govinda Dasi because she prepared grains on the Ekadashi for him. And Prabhupada got all upset. He went ballistic, that she could be so forgetful about this kind of thing. But then, the next moment, he's just all cool and chipper, and so didn't phase him. So the problem with anger, if it eats you, you could actually check with what's the name of the guy, who's famous American writer, who's with the mustache and the white hair. Remember Karna Sindhu?
Swami with mustache.
Anyways, he has a definition of anger. It's so beautiful. Anger, definition of anger. Look it up. Maybe you'll find a definition of anger. So anger might be, let's say, bottlenecked up there, but you have to know how to channel it properly, you know. And if it goes away very swiftly, you say dissolves, that's a good sign. Sometimes our anger is justified, like if say the building is being defaced or something like that, or somebody's being, neglectful, and or just someone's abusive towards another person, so anger may arise, and there's justification behind it. Like if a parent doesn't raise his or her voice against the child will not learn. There's a tone that every child understands, that a dog, a little puppy will understand. Bad boy, like that. Stop, like they'll understand, So we need that once in a while. We need to be corrected. It's important. We're here for correction. This is correctional services right here. Right here. Is that okay, Prabhu?
Yes.
Anger.
Thank you very much.
Okay, great. Anything else, Prabhus? What are the, sometimes people get angry because, I didn't get enough sleep. Do I have to go to the Mangalarti? And the answer is yes. And try to sneak in some sleep some other time, but you have to analyze, why am I angry? And when people get angry and cranky, how babies, they start crying. But humans, adults also cry when they don't have enough rest, it seems. They're cranky and they cry inside. They don't show it. They don't rant and rave. They just, so that might be the cause for anger too. Or something like people are angry all over the world over one person right now. The guy with the, the whole world's angry with this guy. The whole world, except for a few. Let's say maybe not so enlightened people, but there's just the whole world. And I, if I was American, I'd be ashamed. And I'd be ashamed that that's my leader, right? Anyways, who comes after Hitler? Hare Krishna.
Anger comes to only young men or
Young men. Well, young men oftentimes are, let's say, they're very overt with their expressions. Overt, what that means, right? And oftentimes women they express their frustrations more covertly, done in silence, sort of sneaky, gossipy, whatever. Men are more like, to put your fist through the chip rock here. And somebody could come in, oh, this is a very holy place. We had one devotee, he was actually an actor. And actually, he was walking in Times Square, one of the parks in New York, and somebody hit him on the head, did permanent damage on his brain, so he'd get angry sometimes. So he would punch a hole in the wall, and his wife was so good, she just kind of get some plaster and fix it up and put the paint on because she was an artist. But he couldn't help himself, he was damaged. He was a nice person. Just some freak came and bashed him and did terrible damage, and he just get angry have anger spurts.
Yesterday when you ate the chili, you were angry.
Oh, I was angry with Mataji. Yeah, so because many times I already said, don't put these chilies in if we don't want it. So for those of you who like hot chilies, we're just going to ask the kitchen, please just put it in a bowl to the side. Don't make everyone else suffer. Management, can you make sure that Kamala Kant or somebody? I mean, it was horrible. It was horrible, and that's why it was not Haribol. It was horrible. Okay, so Prabhus, thank you very much for listening and tolerating me. And we have some guests coming, right? Vrinda's coming today.
Yes.
And then we have Kalakantas coming when? Tomorrow. And we're having a meeting in up in Huntsville, leaders, some of you are going there, right?
Yes.
You know, for Southern Ontario centers, of which we got a few. Yeah. It's time to get together. We'll be up there in beautiful Huntsville. Anybody want to go for a swim? Yeah? Like outside?
Yeah, is it too cold?
No,
By the way, it's going
it
to be
depends.
cold.
If you're talking about Paul, he can do it. And we have this guy, Kenneth from Barrie. He knows how to do it. He and his wife are, they go on the cold all the time.
I'm,
You can try.